Hey, so this is Coach Demont, and I am live right now. I want to make sure that I allow everyone the time to get in. But in the process of people coming into the room, I want to tell you what this is about. So what this is about is so many people are building credit and they don't know how to properly build it. So I wanted to give you guys the credit card blueprint. So this is the blueprint to credit cards. I'm gonna take the time to show you how to properly build your credit card profile, and what credit cards you need to apply for, what your credit score should be when you apply for those cards, what perks you get with the cards. I want you to know what you need to apply for, and I want you to be clear on how to properly build a good profile. So there's a such thing as a weak profile, and there's a such thing as a good profile. So I want you to be able to build a good profile when you apply for credit cards so that you can get the rewards and all of that, but you can't do it overnight. So it's a tiered process. The tiered process is you have to have a starter card, and then we will apply for starter plus cards, and then we'll apply for intermediate cards, and then we will apply for premium cards, which have the travel rewards and the money back and all of those things. So many of you just are stuck on starter card, all right, which a starter card is the first, I'm going to go through that in a second, but the starter card is like the first Premier card, the Credit One card, the Capital One Platinum card, the unsecured card. Any of those cards are starter cards. So we do not want to have starter cards. We want to have rewards cards, but we want to properly build, and we want to know when to properly build. So I'm gonna share with you my screen. All right, there we go. So today what we're going to do is, this is the credit card blueprint. So this is part one. Part two, I'm going to go through travel rewards card. I'm going to go through the best transfer card. So I want you to know what to apply for. But right now I'm just going to start from the basics, which is where do we start and how do we get to premium cards? All right, so as I just told you, there are different types of cards. There are starter cards, there are starter plus cards, there are intermediate cards, and there are premium cards. There are balance transfer cards, there are travel cards. There are all different types of cards, and it can get confusing sometimes because you don't know which card to apply for. So I want to start you with starter card. So the starter card is when you have no history. All right, so you have no history, and you might have some collections, you might have some repos, you might have a lot of different things on your credit, but I want you to know how to properly build it. But before we do any of this, before we apply for a starter card, before we apply for a starter plus card, before we apply for an intermediate card, before we apply for a rewards card, we want to call all three credit bureaus, and we want to make sure that the fraud alerts have been removed. So if you are in my program or in someone else's program, or you just don't simply know, you need to make sure that the fraud alerts are removed from your credit report, because that will impede the process of you getting an instant approval. So Equifax, their phone number is 1-800-846-5279. Experian is 1-800-360-7580. TransUnion is 1-800-916-8800. So you're going to simply call them and say, hey, I just want to know, do I have a fraud alert? If I have a fraud alert, I want to remove that fraud alert. If they ask you why, that's really none of their business, but it's just tell them that you are applying for credit and you don't want a fraud alert on your credit report. Are fraud alerts good on your credit report? Not necessarily, no. But sometimes when you are getting things deleted off your credit, the credit bureaus add them. A 7-year fraud alert is a no-no that will stop you from getting all kinds of credit. So you want to make sure that you do not have any fraud alerts before you start applying for any of these cards that I'm about to tell you about, okay? All right. So the first starter card is the Capital One secured card. All right. And let me explain to you the difference between the starter card and the starter plus card. So some of you don't need a starter card, you need a starter plus card. And how do you tell the difference? Well, how you tell the difference is if you don't have any open revolving credit, you need to start building credit. And the myth that you don't need credit cards is a lie. You do need credit cards. You need revolving credit. Revolving credit is what is helps you to be able to have a good credit scores. It helps you to be able to be for banks to be able to trust you with higher limits, with home loans, with car loans. Can you get them without revolving credit? Absolutely, but you cannot have the maximum credit score without revolving credit. So you want credit cards, okay? And the goal is to have premium credit cards so that you can get upgraded with your hotels, so that you can travel, so that you can get upgraded to first class, so that you can get cash back. You want to make sure that the ultimate goal is for you to have premium credit cards, not starter cards. All right, so the difference between a starter card and a starter plus card is a starter card is just helping you get started. So that's when you have no score, or you have a really low score, you don't have any credit. All right, you might have an auto loan that's not revolving credit. An auto loan is an installment loan. So the difference between revolving credit and an installment loan is that an installment loan you pay for over time. So typically a car loan is 36, 48, 72 months. After that amount of time, the loan closes. Revolving credit is always open until you close it. And the rule of thumb with every credit card that has good history is that you never close your credit cards. Never close them, because you lose the history, especially if you have good payment history. If you don't have good payment history, then let's get rid of those cards and let's get rid of the history and let's start all over. All right, so everybody has a different walk. Some people, you have had credit for a long time and it's maxed out. Or you are getting your credit worked on and you don't know what to apply for. All right. Everyone should have a starter card if you are getting started with the process. If you've already been in the process, you have revolving credit, then we're going to skip to the intermediate cards. All right. But right now I'm dealing with people that are reestablishing their credit. So they don't have any credit, or they have limited credit, or they have what you call a thin file. A thin file is you have hardly any credit. All right. So the first card that I suggest, this is my top pick, if you're getting a secured card, which you do need. So I suggest that you get a secured card, you pay it for a few months, and then you get a starter plus card. So a secured card is with the best secured cards are with Capital One. Capital One, the credit limit offered is around $200. The security deposit anywhere between $49, $99, and $200. All right, there's no annual fee. There is a high interest rate, but remember, we're just getting started. So we have to build a profile, and the only way we can build a profile is to have revolving credit. All right, so the second card is the OpenSky Card. You can go to their website and apply for this. So they have between $200 to $3,000. So when you put when you secure your money, so you're gonna have to send them anywhere between $200 and $3,000, whatever you choose. I suggest anywhere between $200 and $500. When you send them the money, they'll send you a credit card with that amount on it. When they send you a credit card with that amount on it, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to use that card. That means that now you're establishing revolving credit. All right. So you're securing it with your money and it's showing up on your credit profile, which you cannot have good credit without that. All right. So that's the second one if you can't get approved for the first one. The third one is the Premier Secure Card, PRIMOR Secure Card. You also can start with a minimum payment of a minimum deposit of $200. Now that one has an annual fee of $49. So you want to, and that's through Green Dot. Okay, so that's through greendot.com. All right, so that's a secure card. So then we have another one. Then we do have the Green Dot card, which is the Green Dot 5% cash back card, which is another secure card, but that has a monthly fee of $9.95. So my top pick for secure cards would be the Capital One. If you have a bank, you can use your bank. Just get some type of revolving credit on your credit profile. All right. Now, if you don't get approved for any of those cards, I do know people that have not, that their credit has quite a few blemishes on it, and it's hard for them to get approved for even a secure card. Now, some people might say, how do you not get approved for a card that you're putting your own money up for? Well, that's possible, and I see it all the time. So if that's the case, then I suggest you go to my website, which is millionairescreditclub.com/credit card, and apply for our credit card, which is a 200. It's called it's a secure card, and it's called it helps you reestablish your credit. All right, so we call it the Millionaires Credit Club card. All right, so you want to apply for that card. You do a deposit of $200. You make sure that the fraud alerts are not on your credit report, and they'll send you a card through First Progress with $200 on it, and I suggest you not use it. All right, so you don't have to use it right now. It's not a big deal. You just want to establish it. Establishing it is it reporting to your credit profile, and that's what we need is revolving credit to report. All right. So the question that I get all the time is, how long should you keep a starter card? All right. So I think you should keep a starter card for about 6 months. So 5 to 6 payments of a starter card before you apply for a starter plus card. All right. Starter plus cards. Let's go through those. Starter plus cards. Starter plus card is a Capital One Platinum card. Now, there's 2 different types of Capital One Platinum cards, just so you know. There's a secure Platinum, Capital One Platinum, and there's a unsecured Capital One Platinum, which means that you don't have to send any money. It's not a secure card. All right, so the rest of the cards from now on, the unsecured cards is the cards that we're going to talk about, which are Starter Plus, which means you don't have to put up your money. They're just going to give you an unsecured limit of 200, 300, 500, or whatever. All right, so I just want to make sure you understand that. So the next step is, how many starter cards should you have? You should only have 1. How many starter plus cards should you have? You should only have 1 starter card. So whether it's a starter card or it's a starter plus card, it has starter in it. It's just 1. You don't need 2. You don't need, every time they send you a promotion for First Premier, you apply for it. You don't need it. You only need 1 starter card. Every time they send you a promotion for Credit One Bank, you apply for it and get another $300 limit or $500 limit. You don't need it. You just need 1. Because what's going to happen is, as you build your profile, you're going to be stuck with all these starter cards, these low limit cards with high interest rates with no benefits. All you need to establish credit in 5 to 6 months is 1 starter card. So that's the Capital One Platinum. That's the First Premier Bank card. That's the Credit One card. That's a secured card. Those are all considered starter cards. All right, so after 5 to 6 payments of a starter card, you're going to apply for an intermediate card. All right. So we're going to go through, so starter cards. If you already have a starter card, then you're ahead of the game. Just make sure your balances are at 30%. All right. If you want to know, can you qualify for a starter card instead of a secure card, then you can apply for one. but your credit score needs to be in the 500s or 600s. All right. So if you do a starter card, your score is horrible. You got horrible things on your credit. You're working on getting them deleted, and you just need to establish some credit. All right, so it's a difference. The starter card is with no history, no revolving credit. The starter plus card is you have some credit, but you need to establish revolving credit, which I explained the difference between the two, the revolving credit and the installment loans before. So remember, you need to have at least one revolving credit to start building credit card. All right, so increases. I'm getting ready to tell you about a lot of cards, but I want you to learn this about credit. Every 6 to 12 months, if you have a card with any bank, you need to ask for a credit line increase, especially if you have good payment history. So if they deny you, that's fine, but we're going to keep asking because the maximum amount of credit that we can have, it puts us in a position to get the maximum amount of limits in the future. So your limit that you get approved for your future cards is based upon your present cards, all right? So if we're starting from the ground up, our present cards, meaning our starter cards, are gonna have low limits. They're gonna have $200 limits, they're gonna have $500 limits, they're gonna have $700 limits. They might have a $1,000 limit, but that's very unlikely, all right? So to start off with a $1,000 limit. So we want to eventually, at least my team, I want to eventually for you to have $20,000 limits, $10,000 limits, $100,000 limits. So in order for that to happen, you have to follow this blueprint, all right? So every 6 to 12 months, ask for an increase. I don't care if that's a starter card. I don't care unless it's an unsecured card. You can't ask for an increase because you secured it with your money. But if it's a starter plus card, if it's an intermediate card, or if it's a premium card, ask for credit line increases, all right? If that account doesn't have any late payments, all right? So this is a bonus to boost your credit and to give you higher limits in the future. I suggest that you go to Millionaires Credit Club /boost and apply for the My Jewelers card. The My Jewelers card, what it would do is it will give you an instant $5,000 credit card. Now, you don't have to use this card with My Jewelers. You know, it's like having a case card. So you might not want any jewelry off of there. So you might not want to use it, but what it would do is it will report to your credit bureau, to each credit bureau, that you have a $5,000 credit card. So now we're building, remember? So now we have a starter card or a starter plus card, and we have a $5,000 jewelry card. So we have those two cards that we're building off of. So one card might be a $200 limit. The other card will be a $5,000 limit. All right, both of those cards are revolving. So now we have a profile of two cards. Some of you might have more because you are ahead of the game, or you just allowed Capital One or one of those. First Premier or Credit One Bank to give you more than one card, which you didn't need, but don't close it, leave them open, pay them down 30%. All right. All right. So after we get to the 650 mark or the 630 mark, around the 650 mark, we want to start applying for intermediate cards. But I want you to know how to apply for them. Is very important. So Chase has a rule, and it's called the 5 and 24 rule. So we want to start our intermediate process. We want to start our intermediate profile with Chase products. And I'm going to teach you why. You need to know this. So Chase gives higher limits. Number one, Chase has a lot of different benefits, but it's because of the 5 and 24 rule, because we can't, after we have 5 new accounts in 24 months, we won't be able to apply for Chase products anymore. And Chase needs to be a part of everybody's profile. I just told my mom this the other day, which she has Chase. So 5 and 24 rule means you can't have more than 5 new accounts in the last 2 years. That also includes authorized users, which we're not going to go into for this because we're talking about credit cards. But if someone's added you onto their credit card, or you have your authorized user for credit, that's included in the 5 and 24 rule. So Chase needs to be one of the top intermediate cards that you apply for. Okay. All right. So the first intermediate card is the Chase Slate card. You need to have between a 650 and 700 score. You only need 1 to 3 intermediate cards in building this blueprint. All right, so that we have strong credit, so that we have high limits, so that we have rewards, so that we're building it properly. You only need 1 to 3 intermediate cards. I'm about to give you a few that you can get. All right, again, make sure that you don't have any fraud alerts. And when you start applying for intermediate cards, you don't need to have any negative items on your credit. So by that time, all the negative items need to have been off your credit. So no repos, no collections, no medical collections, no late payments, no, if you have student loans, that's fine. Just make sure that there's no late payments on the student loans when you apply for the intermediate cards. All right, so I like the Chase Slate card because it gives you a 5% balance transfer. It's 0 interest for 15 months. It's a good card. You get points, so it's a good card to start with as far as intermediate wise. All right, so what I would do is I would pay that card on time for a few months, and then I would apply for the Chase Freedom card. Because remember, we got to build our profile with Chase products first. There is no maximum of credit cards you should have, so you can have how many ever credit cards you want, but we want to start building with Chase. All right, so the next card, as far as intermediate that we should have, is the Chase Freedom card. We need to have at least a 650 score. We need to have no negative items, and we need to be in position to start building on our intermediate card process. All right. So I like the Chase Freedom card. Chase Freedom card gives you cash back. Chase Freedom card, you get points. Chase Freedom card has no annual no annual fee. Chase Freedom card is just one of my top cards. All right. As far as intermediate cards, you should have the Chase Freedom cards. They give high limits, but even if they don't give you a high limit over time, because remember, we're going to ask for increases every 6 to 12 months. So over time, some of my people have 15,000, 25,000, 35,000 limits with Chase Freedom. So you just got to build it properly. All right. The next intermediate card, we should have 3, 1 to 3. I've given you 2 already. The third one is the Discover It card. The Discover It card, you get cash back. Is no annual fee. They even have a perk where your first there's no late fee for your first late payment if you make a payment past the due date. It's just all kind of perks. They give you cash back. They give you 5% cash back on every dollar that you spend. So at this point, when we get to the intermediate cards, we're going to replace our debit cards with our intermediate card. So that's where we start practicing discipline. All right. So discipline is I'm going to remove my debit card from my wallet and I'm going to replace it with my Chase Slate card, Chase Freedom card, Discover It card, or whatever intermediate card that I have, so that I can get cash back, so that I can get rewards, and so that I can get money for spending money. So when I spend money, whether it's on my rent, whether it's on gas, whether it's on groceries, whether it's on movies, whether it's on travel, whatever, I'm going to get a percentage back, 5% back. Okay? But I have to be disciplined. I have to be disciplined because when I use my debit card, it's going to remove it from my account automatically. When I use my credit card, I have to pay it off in full the next month with the money, or pay it off throughout the month with the money that is in my bank account. So I'm not pushing credit card debt to you. I'm pushing credit card benefits. So credit card debt means that you're going to continue to be paying interest rates over a period of time. Now, I just told you that the cards that I just showed you have zero interest for 18 months. So if they have zero interest for 18 months, that means you're not paying any interest. You're getting benefits for using your cards. But you have to practice discipline. All right. So the next intermediate card, you don't need all of them, but I'm just telling you some. I just want you to have 1 to 3. All right, is the Capital One Quicksilver card. That's a cash rewards card. They have balance transfers. They don't charge for that. You have 0% interest. It's a good card. It's not one of my top cards, but it's a good card. You do get rewards. All right, so if you want to build, I say it's not one of my top cards because if we started with Capital One in the starter cards, then we want to have a variety of banks in our portfolio that we're building relationships with. So if we already have a Capital One, then maybe we should do intermediate cards. We should do Chase and Discover. So that now we have a relationship with Capital One, Chase, and Discover. But if you can't get approved for those, or there's some reason where you previously had an issue with one of those banks, then Capital One Quicksilver is a good intermediate card. All right. So now we move to premium cards. All right. So now we have we have one starter card. Some of you might have a few. We can't close them, so we just got to keep them open. We have at least 1 to 3 intermediate cards. So we have at least one starter card. We had at least 1 to 3 intermediate cards. And then now we need to start building our premium cards. All right. Our premium cards is what's going to get us the maximum perks and statuses and upgrades and rewards and all of those things. That's the premium cards. All right. So the first premium card that I have, because we got to do the 5 and 24 rule with Chase. So my first premium card would be the Chase Sapphire, which is the top of the line card with Chase. All right, because I don't want to get another card because I don't want to max out my 5 and 24 rule. Because if I have 5 new cards within 2 years, I'm not going to get approved for the Sapphire later on. So I want the first premium card that I get, I want to be the Chase Sapphire card. The Chase Sapphire card gives you 2 points for every $1 on travel, gives you 2 points for every $1 on dining, gives you 1 point for every $1 spent on everything. So imagine how much money you're spending using your debit card. Imagine if you were using your Chase Sapphire card and getting rewarded back and points back for that you could travel in for vacationing or I use my points for Christmas. So for Christmas, I don't go into debt for Christmas shopping. I use my points. So imagine if you were to use the right credit card all year long, not the starter cards with no rewards, but you were able to use the right credit card all year long, and you were able to get a point back for every dollar that you spent. All right? All right, so you get 60,000 bonus points. So when you get the card, after you have spent the minimum spend, you would get 60,000 points, which is equivalent to $750. So just for getting the card, they're paying you. All right, so the thing that the old people used to tell us that credit cards were bad and credit cards were the devil. Don't get credit cards. Like, credit cards are actually good. There are a lot of benefits in credit cards, but the key to credit is discipline. So if you don't have discipline, then no, credit cards will not work for you. But if you want to master discipline and you want to maximize the opportunities that other people have, and you want to get the bank's money, and you want to get paid back when you use your credit, and you want to get rewards, and you want to get all these different things, then credit card is great. Credit is great. So there's a $95 annual fee for the Chase Sapphire card. All right, I'm gonna tell you in a few minutes how to get past the annual fees, but I will, or I'll tell you in part 2. But I'm gonna go over annual fees in just a few minutes. So there's a lot of other, if you travel, Chase Sapphire card, great card. So to get this card, you should not apply until you get at least a 700 score. So when you're at a 700 credit score, you don't have 0 negatives on your credit profile, and you have at least one starter card that you paid on time for 5 to 6 months, and you have at least one intermediate card, if not 3, that you paid on for 5 to 6 months. Then you're going to apply for the premium cards, which is the Chase Sapphire cards. All right. After we do the Chase Sapphire card, then if you want to, you can get the reserve card. All right. That's not, I mean, I don't have the reserve card. I have the Sapphire card. So you don't have to have the reserve card, but if that's what you want, then, and you look at it, they have the complimentary airport lounges. They have the trip insurance. They have the 3 points for every dollar spent and 1 point for every $1 that you make purchases. So it's a good card overall, but it's just, you get $300 annual travel credit. You get a lot of different benefits. But I'd rather have American Express, so I use my American Express. But if you want that to be a part of your profile, I suggest that you get the premium card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is the top tier of their credit cards. All right, the next card is the MasterCard Titanium card. That's another premium card. You should have a few premium cards. All right, so the Titanium card, you get 1 point for every dollar spent. You get 1% rate cash back, or a 2% rate for airfare redemptions. It is the $195 annual fee, but those of you that are kind of tight or frugal, as you call it, an annual fee, now that we've gotten to premium cards, is worth it, because now, especially if you use all the benefits. All right, so you have to pay for it, but the annual fee is worth it. So my other top pick is if you have a business or you have an LLC set up to get the Chase Inc. Business Preferred Card. So you're going to get 80,000 points. You're going to get 25% bonus when you redeem your travel through Chase. You're going to get 3 points for every dollar spent. All right, and it's $95 annual fee. So that's a good card, especially to build business credit with as well. They pull your personal credit, not your business credit, but they report to your business credit. So you want to make sure that if you're building a business profile, you might as well do it all at one time. All right. So since I'm giving you the blueprint to credit cards, you need to know the difference between a charge card and a credit card. All right. There's a difference. So a credit card means that a bank extends an amount to you and you can pay it off over a period of time. That's credit. So whether that's, like we talked about earlier, whether that's the starter card or whether that's the intermediate card, whether that's the secured card, whether that's the unsecured card, the bank gives you an amount of money that they trusted you with, and you can pay it off in increments. So you can pay it off over a period of time. All right. So all of those cards that we just talked about are credit cards, revolving credit. I told you need revolving credit. So we've already built that. We've established that. We've paid that on time, 5 to 6 months each time. All right, now we're still in the premium, on the premium level, but now we're going to I want you to pick at least one charge card. All right, and you're going to pick that charge card, and it's going to be based upon what you can afford. So if you can afford an annual fee of $500, or you can afford an annual fee of $99, whatever you can afford, I want you to pick that card, because you need at least one charge card, and you need and American Express offers charge cards, and you need to build a relationship with American Express, because over time it will benefit you, especially if you're in business, especially if you travel, and especially if you're trying to build relationships with banks. American Express should be a part of your portfolio. All right. So my first pick, as far as charge cards, is the American Express Gold Card. American Express Gold Card, you get about 35,000. It changes all the time, but right now you get about 35,000 points when you sign up. But you have to spend $2,000 on that card over a period of 3 months. So that's your minimum spend. So you spend $2,000 collectively over 3 months, you'll get 35,000 points. You get 4 times rewards points when you dine. You get 4 times rewards points when you go to the grocery store. You get 3 times rewards points when you book flights directly. So that is, I have the gold card. I like the gold card. So if you just want to start with a charge card and you don't want to have to pay a higher annual fee, I suggest that you have the gold card. All right, there's no limit on the gold card. So when you see no preset limit, that means you don't have a limit, but it's based upon your relationship with the bank. That's why you want to establish a relationship with them. So I don't have my gold card, but I can have the platinum card, which I'll show you again in a second, but I can have the platinum card. All right. And I could have my preset limit could be 30,000 or 100,000. And then you can have the same card and your preset limit be 10,000 or 5,000. So it's based upon your relationship. That's why you want to always use it. You have to pay it off in full every month, but that's why you want to use it and pay it off, use it, build a relationship, keep paying it off, use it, you build a relationship, keep paying it off over time. Now you have a great relationship with this bank. So if you want to go flip a house or you want to go buy something, make a big purchase, but you know you're going to pay it off in 30 days and you want to get rewards points for it, then you're able to buy it. Okay? All right. So my second pick, which is my top pick, of cards, which is the card that I use every single day, all day. And this is the card that I have so many rewards points and I travel with and I am upgraded with and I am and I do my Christmas shopping on. I have over 1 million points with this card. All right. And that's the Capital One Platinum card. Now, everyone isn't able to do a yearly fee. And just know that your annual fee comes on your first bill. So the $550, if you can't afford to pay the $550 right now, then you shouldn't get it. You shouldn't even have this card. If you can't afford to pay the $550. Now, if you can afford to pay the $550, I want to, and you just want to know, is it a wise decision? I want to show you what all you get. So what all you get is you get the 5 membership rewards points for every dollar spent. Remember some of the other cards we just saw, you get 2 rewards points for every dollar spent. Then we looked at another card, you get 3 rewards cards for every dollar spent. With this one, you get 5 rewards points for every dollar spent on flights, for every dollar spent on hotels. You get 2 rewards points for every $1 that you spend in travel. You get free global entry TSA pre-check, so they reimburse you for that. You get complimentary benefits as far as hotels. So I'm a gold member with I'm a gold member with Hilton. I'm a diamond member with Marriott. So I get upgraded to suites because of my status. Now, if I didn't have this card, I would have to spend a lot of money with Hilton or Starwoods or with Marriott to be able to get that status. Well, this automatically upgrades me to that status. All right. And I'm gonna do another session on status matches. So I'm gonna show you how, if you have this card, you can do a status match on Delta and be first class, or you can do a status match on at any hotel and get upgraded to a suite, or you can do a status match on at restaurants and get discounts. So you can do status matches, meaning that this card might not give you that status, but you can match another card because of this card. All right. So you also get Uber credit, $15 a month with this card. You get 60,000 rewards points. You get access to the American Express Centurion Lounge. So when you travel, you and your family can go and wait in the lounge. and chill and eat a good meal and have an open bar. You can do a lot of things. So it's one of my top cards, and I think that everybody should try to have this card. Now, the 550, how we could get the 550 wave is about one. You need to make sure that you know when your anniversary date. So your anniversary date is when you got the card. So about 1 to 2 months prior to your anniversary date, you're going to call the retention line to American Express. And you're going to tell them that you haven't been totally satisfied with the card for whatever reason. And they're going to waive and just tell, I've been thinking about just canceling the card. And I haven't been totally satisfied with the card. And you might not have been, so you're not lying. And you might be thinking about canceling because of that, that yearly fee. So you need to tell them that, and the retention line will waive your next year's 550. All right, so you only have to pay the 550 the first year, every other year. But you got to call prior to your anniversary date. You can't wait till the month that it posts. You have to wait till, you have to do it prior to that. All right, so now that we've established our starter cards, our starter plus cards, our intermediate cards, we've established all the cards that we have. I want to give you another bonus. All right. Another bonus is, if you can, apply for Navy Federal Credit Union. Everybody needs to have or be a member of at least one credit union. It's going to help you get approved for your home loan. It's going to help you get a lower interest rate on your house. You might need to get a loan. You just need to establish a relationship with a credit union, not a larger bank like Wells Fargo, Chase, all of that. It's okay to have those, but you need to have at least one credit union. All right. So because we are now a member of Navy Federal Credit Union, you need to apply for the Platinum card. That needs to be your first card that you apply for. When do I apply for it, DeMont? Well, you apply for the Platinum card. That could be one of your intermediate cards. All right. They give high limits. They give 10,000 plus limits. So you want to make sure that when you're applying, if you can, get into Navy. How you get into Navy? You have a family member that's been in the military, or a family member that has a membership there, and all you need is their access number, and you're going to call Navy or apply for it online. So that's just a bonus. You don't have to have that as a part of your portfolio, but it will help you because now you have a credit union. So some people might say, well, I'm a member of this credit union, I'm a member of that credit union. Well, those credit unions are not going to give you as much as Navy, bottom line. It's okay to have that relationship with them, but they're not going to give you the high limits. So if you want high limits and you want to be able to build, I think the goal for everyone should be $100,000 in available credit. So if one bank gives you 10, if one bank gives you 15, if one bank gives you 25 over a period of time, because we are going to be asking for increases every 6 to 12 months, then over time you'll have $100,000 in available credit. That does not mean you're maxing it out. That does not mean you're going on a shopping spree. That does not mean that you're even using 30% of it. That means that you have it available so that if you ever want to invest or flip houses or do something that might be quick, you have the available credit to do it. All right. So if you haven't learned anything from this class, hopefully you've learned that in order to have good credit, you need discipline. If you don't have discipline, you need to start reading books about discipline. You need to start just testing yourself and giving yourself just a certain amount to spend. You need to have discipline in order to maximize your credit. All right. So saying all that to say is I hope that everybody ends up in the American Express Club with me. I want you to maximize this year. For next year, I want you to maximize everything that you have and don't ever allow a bankruptcy or repo or student loans or late payment or any of those things to stop you from having the rewards of credit. They can be fixed. There are solutions. There are ways to do it. There are laws that protect you. So you need to make sure that by this time next year, you are able to say, I'm using my credit card to do my Christmas shopping next month. Okay? So you need to make sure that you have the rewards so you're able to travel. When you travel, you don't have to be in domestic. And when you go to hotels, you don't have to stay in regular suites. You can get upgraded to suites. All right? So, and when you use Uber, you can use your Uber credits. All right? Free Uber credits. So I want to make sure that you get there, but I wanted to take this time out to show you how to build a proper credit card portfolio. Make sure that you follow this. If you have questions, which you might have questions, send us questions. But at the end of the day, follow this blueprint, and I promise you it will work. Everybody have a good one.